Does anyone feel slightly bad about Kylie? I'm a very, very happy girl. This and more on Drop Your Buffs, a podcast discussing Australian Survivor. On this podcast, we'll be discussing Australian Survivor that aired on Tuesday, the 4th of October. So if you haven't seen this episode yet and don't want to be spoiled, grab your things and head back to camp. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just go to dropyourbuffs.com for more details. My name is Stuart, and with me, as usual, is my Survivor partner in crime, Craig.
G'day, Stu. Something you need to tell me? You're a happy girl.
Happy go. That was just straight off the bat for that episode, wasn't it?
That was Flick. She was happy. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I don't know. They were very happy to see the back of Kylie, weren't they?
It was a bit. It was a bit much.
Yeah.
I mean, and we've talked about this before. I really don't understand the antagonism that seemed to be directed towards Kylie. Perhaps she got a very favourable edit that only we saw. Who knows? But I've never understood why it was that they turned on her so much from very early on in the game.
Exactly. She seems quite likable, but there's obviously something about her that mustn't be likable, and she just didn't click with anyone.
Yeah, it was. It perplexes me. I've never properly understood that. But anyway, But JL's said what I've been thinking all along, and she's talking here about the alliance, particularly of Brooke and Flick, but you can bring Elle into this as well. They've had a very easy run. And that's true. They've had a very easy run through this game.
They have. But before we start talking too much about this episode, I've got something very exciting that I can't wait to show you, Craig.
Right, go for it.
I was very lucky to get an exclusive interview with Nick.
Oh wow!
The mayor of Jury Villa.
Is that what he's called himself?
Well,
his first one there, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well done.
That's right. So I was able to get him on the line earlier today. So right. I'll just play back our little interview.
Let's go.
With me today in the studio is a somewhat controversial castaway. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to Drop Your Buffs. Can you give the listeners your name?
Jenna Louise.
Okay, let's get serious now.
Nick. I'm sorry.
Nick.
Great. Thanks, Nick. Before we get started, can I get you any refreshments? A glass of water, perhaps?
62 kilos of chicken nuggets.
I think a glass of water is the best we can do. Nick, it was well publicised that you are one of the Survivor superfans. What do you think your role was on Vavau?
King Nick. It's so good. Maybe you should look it up.
And what do you think you brought to the game of Survivor?
Gratitude. Talking the talk. And now, revenge.
What was a low point for you in the game?
When I was voted out from Vavau, that's just bad.
Do you have anything to say to those that cast votes against you?
Good on them. I'm out for blood. I think that we should kill them.
Did you have any friends on the island?
My old pal, Hidden Immunity Idol. We work together.
When you were voted off and became the first member of the jury, you said that you would be holding everyone accountable, not just at the end, but at every single tribal.
So I'm still here.
But jury members are not allowed to speak during tribal.
So wrong. Maybe you should look it up.
Thanks for your time, Nick. Any last words?
Wow.
Yes, wow.
Wow, indeed. That's quite a scoop getting those insights, Stu. Well done.
It was. Thanks very much, and thanks, Nick, if you're listening. Thanks for your time. That was fantastic. Who else do you think we should go on the show, Craig?
Oh, I don't know. I'm completely taken aback.
Any favourites? I wouldn't mind hearing from Andrew actually, because I just loved all his little sayings. It was he was very entertaining.
Yeah, get Andrew on. That'd be good. Maybe even Des.
Oh, Des.
Do you remember Des?
Yeah, that's right.
Way back on episode 1.
Exactly. Well, this episode starts, of course, we're just talking about Kylie, but JL seems to have realised, or she's saying it's time for a big move.
Oh, she's known that for a long time.
It's been time for a long time, though.
She's known that for a long time. And Sam seemed to be getting it too. Oh, it's a bit of a worry, he said. It's always been Kylie or Nick until now, and what's going to happen now? And I'm just like going, Sam, really? Are you only just now working this out?
I don't know. The cogs are turning very slowly, aren't they?
He's had numerous chances. He's had all sorts of people telling this. It's been made very clear since, as I keep going on about this, since way back before Connor was voted out. It's been really obvious, and it's still not happening. And he says something like that, and I just went, really? Really?
Exactly. Well, then we hear from Brooke, who wants to, she's sort of talking about whether they should take the boys to the end or get rid of them sooner.
Yeah.
Because
they can't beat them.
Yeah.
Before we talk about that, though,
yeah.
do you realise what's happening here? We've reached day 40. This is Survivor history. We're on day 40.
Yes.
America ends on 39. So we win.
Yeah, that's right.
Day 40. And they've still got 2 weeks to go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's incredible. Yeah,
but yeah, that was interesting. I think that probably has been. I suspect that was taken a little bit out of context. I think that's just talking about all sorts of different options, and they just threw that into the edit just to make it look a little bit, bit of uncertainty about what might happen to Sam and Lee.
Well, I guess if they're confident in their alliance of three of the 3 girls, they can just take the boys to the final 5, and then pick them off. So unless they get worried about one of the guys winning immunity or something like that, that could be a problem for them.
That's true.
But Sue and JL, they realise that they need 5 votes because there's 9 people left at the moment. So they talk about trying to bring over Sam.
Yeah. And seem to have a bit of a very obvious conversation with him in camp. Like they were sitting there in full view of, Flick and Brooke there.
Yeah, but the other castaways couldn't read the subtitles though. I think that was why they didn't know what was going on.
Don't they have subtitles at camp? Don't they? Oh, that'll make it hard.
That's right. And it's funny, Matt was talking about he sees the final 4 as Flick, Brooke, Sam, and himself.
Yeah, he does.
That's right, wasn't it? That's what he said.
Yeah, I think so. I think he said something similar to that. I was going to talk about this later, but we'll talk about it now. I'm struggling with Matt. I really am. It's just he clearly doesn't know his place, despite the fact it's being laid out to him. He's been told this by numerous people, and I think
he just doesn't believe, does he?
He doesn't believe it. He honestly doesn't believe it. He is absolutely convinced that he is part of that alliance, and I think that shows how effective Brooke and Flick and Co are being in convincing him of that. And they've been working on this for a long time, and they've got him completely hoodwinked. And I think what makes it so much worse is that we all know that he's got this title mentalist in his job description.
And he's not seeing anything,
and he's not seeing any of it. He prides himself on being able to read people and understand the way they're thinking and turn them away to his way of thinking. And it's just not happening. And it's interesting. There was when the merge happened, or it might have been shortly after that, JLP was interviewed on news.com.au, and he was talking about he spoke about each one of the remaining people. And that's one of the things he said about Matt, is that Matt thought that going into the game with this, his mentalist ability and his magic ability and all that sort of thing, that would be a huge advantage for him and it would really help him. But he was actually shocked to discover it was no help to him at all. And we're just seeing it every single episode where he just honestly believes that he is part of this alliance. We then cut away to Brooke saying, "Oh no, Matt's not part of our alliance." It's happening every episode, but he can't see it.
Exactly. Well, when I loved when JL, she said something like, "I just don't understand Matt's gameplay," and I thought, exactly, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
The thing is, I don't think it's actually Matt's gameplay. It's Matt just is not fully aware of his alliances. So that's not even gameplay. It's just basic information about what's going on in the game. He's not aware of it, which makes it really hard to play the game if you don't really know what's going on.
It's hard for us because we can only see what we get shown on TV. So to us, it makes it seem like, how can Matt think that? But it's. But
we do have the benefit of seeing lots of other conversations that he doesn't see. So I don't want to be too hard on him. It would be, they're obviously incredibly effective at stringing him along and making him feel very much a part of that alliance.
Exactly. Then we get back to Flick, and I thought it was quite comical actually how she hears about JL is thinking about making some big moves, and Flick seems to be outraged that she's actually daring to play the game and make a move. She's like, how dare she do that?
I know. There's only 3 people in this game that are allowed to, well, 2 really, Brooke and Flick are allowed to play the game. And no one else is allowed
That's
to,
right.
no one else is allowed to play it.
She was very upset.
Oh, she was
she was ropeable.
All 3 of them though were ropeable. I mean, we had Elle saying things like, Jenna Louise is trying to break us and she's gone because she's going behind our backs. Brooke said, "What an idiot! We've kept her here for all this time." and then suggested we need to play nice with her to make her feel, more part of it. And then Flick saying, once you backstab us, we backstab you. So it's you got to be very careful with that alliance.
Well, maybe that's why everyone has been the people at the bottom have been so reluctant to make a move, because they know anyone that steps out of line just gets beaten on by.
Well, it's happened time and time again. And, and I think probably this is why those big moves were not made because you needed a significant number of people to do it. Like if just one or two of you go across and join Sue, and when Kate was there, and and Christian, Christy's not is that much a part of that alliance now, but you needed 3 or 4 people to make that shift all at once, and that's just too hard. That's probably why it didn't happen.
That's right.
But it's just so hard to do now.
Well, then that brings us to the reward challenge, and then we get our roast, don't we?
Oh,
Sunday roast with all the trimmings.
Oh, yes. Well, this was great. Because I love a roast lamb and roast veggies. I absolutely love it. And this would be, for me, the ultimate reward, I think. If I was on Survivor, I would just go, I have to win this one.
If only the challenge lived up to the reward, because it was a bit of a fizzer, wasn't it?
Not if you were Lee.
No, that's right. It was fantastic for Lee.
That was a challenge that was made for Lee. I mean, there was classic catch after classic catch, which is not surprising given he was a professional cricketer. So absolutely, mate. He got, it was 5-0, and all 5 were Lee.
That's right. It was, you see, we have seen this challenge before in US Survivor, and it's normally a bit more exciting because it's a bit closer than that.
No, he just made that look so easy. So you had Sam, Elle, and Brooke, who were really just bit parts on the blue team, which was Lee running around catching everything, and Matt, Christy, Flick, and Jenna Louise, who were playing for blue, yellow, just didn't have a hope.
It makes you wonder though, because we're just talking about Matt being a magician and mentalist and so on. Why can't they have some challenge that involves doing a magic trick or something like that? Or
I suspect they probably thought there was a lot of puzzles going on there at one stage, and they probably thought that would favour people like, and not just Matt, but other people who aren't as physical, but might be able to cope with that and do those sorts of challenges. They had lots and lots of those.
That's a good point, and we haven't seen many puzzles for a while now, have we? Which is good.
Well,
because
I did complain about it, so maybe
I was a bit puzzled out. To be honest, but and. At the reward, I thought it was funny how Lee was just in awe of the fact that they were sitting at a table and they were using cutlery, and it was
But imagine after being there for, what are we up to now, 40 or 41 days, you haven't sat on a proper chair or eaten at a table, all those things that we all take for granted.
It would feel
everyday lives. It would feel seriously strange to be doing that, and particularly on a beach. Well, it's not just that they're eating at a table; they're eating at a table on a beach, and there's this beautifully cooked lamb, and there was some really nice looking roast potatoes there. And I tell you, I've had a full meal tonight, and I wanted a bit of that roast lamb. Yeah, wasn't that a nice Australian twist though? Like roast lamb.
It was, yeah.
That's an Australian thing. I know other countries have roast lamb as well. I'm thinking New Zealand and other places, but I mean, if they did that in America, it'd be a turkey or ribs or something like that. Speaking
of that, well, not everyone likes roast lamb,
don't they? Who doesn't like roast lamb?
Well, Matt was sort of saying because he lost, and so he wasn't getting the roast lamb, but he wasn't worried about the roast lamb because he said, well, it's not like it's ribs or wings or anything. So
yeah, it
was just a bit of sour grapes, I thought, which they had on the table too, didn't they? Some grapes on the table.
They did have some grapes on the table. You think it was proudly brought to you by the lamb? Who's it? There was no product placement there, was there? Or maybe there was. Maybe it was just very subtle.
Eat more lamb.
Eat more lamb, yeah.
Now, Flick, she starts speaking about the various relationships, and I think she was talking to JL this time. Or
this was back at camp while the lamb was being
She was talking with the losers, yeah.
This was a weird conversation for me.
Yeah, and she was talking about the Sam Brooke relationship, which I didn't particularly realise that there was too much of a relationship there, and there was a Lee L relationship which I did know something about.
Yeah.
So they're almost like two power couples going on there, is what Flick's basically saying.
That's what she was saying. Was it was actually Jenna Louise suggesting that. She was sort of asking Flick, do you feel weird about it? Is that just Jenna Louise stirring up trouble, or is that an actual thing? Well, we know with Lee and Elle,
I think it's both, really. But because Flick was saying, I think she was saying, every night before they go to bed, those two couples have their own little private chat.
Yeah.
And she was saying, every night this
Yeah.
happens, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, she must have to feel that when it gets down to the last sort of few in their alliance, is what is going to hold better, the three girls or one of these power couples, you know?
Well, that's very interesting. It's going to be absolutely fascinating if it comes down to that point.
Maybe that might help her get to the final three, because it might be one power couple plus her,
Yeah, maybe.
because then that wouldn't split up one of the other.
I don't know. I mean, you know, if you think about it in terms of who can I beat, I mean, I think if we're talking Flick, I think Flick would struggle to beat either of Lee or Sam if they were there at the end.
It seems that way. Yeah.
I get the feeling that Brooke is actually the mastermind.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
So would people reward her by saying, well, actually, you know, you've played an amazing game, you've outwitted everybody, you've been calling the shots the whole way through. So Flick versus Brooke, that'd be interesting. Particularly if it came down, say the last final three we're probably getting a bit ahead of ourselves here, but say the final three were Flick, Brooke, and Elle. And then one of them has to, so whoever wins immunity basically decides who they take through to the end.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Who on earth would you pick?
Yeah. I think that they would get rid of Elle in that case if they could, and it'd come down to Flick and Brooke.
I don't know. It could happen. You could get down to that, and boy, oh boy, that'll be an absolute cracker if it does.
Well, that brings us to the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
The best way to really describe this, it sounds a bit weird, but it's hold a block of wood in a door frame with your head.
Yeah, you don't.
That basically sums it up, doesn't it?
You don't ever do that?
Oh, I haven't for a while.
Not for a while?
No,
Hey, give it a go on the weekend. It's good fun.
it's been a while, but
Sue had another one of her little cracker of comments. So I might as well just stand here.
that's right.
She looked at it and went, oh, don't know about this one.
It looked like a tough challenge, and at least it wasn't
Yeah.
another 6-hour challenge. It was all over pretty quick, I think.
I think I would really struggle with that one. I get cramps in my calves, and I think they'd set in pretty fast.
It wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a very exciting challenge, to be honest. But it was something new. We hadn't seen that one before on US Survivor, I don't think.
Yeah, I remember something similar.
Have we?
It might have been
okay.
might have been a slight derivation of
Right.
it, but
Yeah.
something similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the winner.
Well, before we get so
Okay.
Sam was out first. Flick was out second. Sue was out third with a god damn it. She stepped off the platform. Then Christy, Lee, and Elle, and so we had Brooke hanging. Oh, Brooke was then gone, leaving Matt and Jenna Louise there, and a few little comments from the other survivors, which was definitely showing some alliances. So,
Okay.
Brooke was saying
was
things
that?
like "Hang in there, Matty," and Elle was saying there "Go, Matt," and Sue was there going "Go, Jenna Louise." So it's pretty clear where the lines were drawn. And then, of course, Jenna Louise won and received a very big, genuine-looking hug from Sue.
Yes, that was a great moment, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was.
It was good. I mean, those two have a real bond together, and that was great to see because they've got no one else, do they?
That's right. Yeah.
And JL wins second time in a row
Second time
too.
in a row, yeah.
Yeah, so she's turned out to be a very tough competitor.
It's all the individual immunity challenges have been won by the women so far.
Well, it was just last week. We were just talking about how we hadn't even heard from JL for a long time,
All
and
of a
suddenly
sudden-
up she pops.
All of a sudden, she's here, and she's here with a vengeance.
Now, in the pre-tribal scramble, it looks like the majority are talking about splitting the votes between Sue and Christy.
Yep.
The reason for that is that they really want Sue to go because they know that would probably hurt JL the most, and they
Yep.
can't get rid of JL because she's got the idol.
Yep.
So, but they
She's got immunity.
Yes, yeah, that's right. And just in case Sue does happen to have an idol, they were going to swing some votes towards Christy just in case.
Yep.
As the off chance. Now, I thought that was a great bit of strategy by Sue when she suggested she and JL should vote for Christy instead of Matt, who they were going to originally.
Absolutely.
I thought that was really good.
I did too, and it might have just worked too. You know, it was sort of sitting on the beach. Look, it's all over. We tried our best. We can't do it. And then Sue says, "Well, actually, there is something we can do." I mean, she fought to the end, and you got to give her that.
Yeah,
She was trying to
she
come
was
up
very
with
crafty.
Yeah, I'd say clever, not crafty. But
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, "Yes, this might actually just work."
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, on to tribal council. We'll find out if it did.
Yes, you go for it.
Jenna Louise wasted no time, did she?
No, she opened up on
and
that,
She told
gave
us
him
she
both
was-
barrels.
She told us she was going to do it, and she did. And she made it very clear that she'd spoken to someone the day before, and they had twisted her words around, and then an interesting exchange occurred then between her and Matt. And she said something like, I can't remember the exact words, but she said something like, "Matt, you're extremely ignorant of the position you are in."
That's pretty much what she said.
She could not have made that any clearer.
But
And
even then, he was
he
not
still
buying
can't-
it.
He's
No,
still it's not that he's blind. He is just convinced to it. He doesn't. It seems to me he does not believe that what people are telling him is true. So
and you really can't believe anyone.
As
on
we've
Survivor.
talked about before, he's not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and he's not even in the alliance. So we know he's not 1 to 5. We've now lost someone, so we've only got. He's very close to being completely blindsided, and he doesn't know it's coming.
That's right. I mean, depending on who wins immunity next episode, he could be going next.
Well, if it was Christy or Jenna Louise, yeah, he could very well be next. I mean, I think Jenna Louise is on the absolute bottom.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's
But
6
then
or,
after
he's
that,
6
it'd
or
be-
7. He and Christy are 6 and 7. So if, say, Jenna Louise was to get it, if he's 7, he could be next.
That's right. That's
And
right. Because
he doesn't know it. He thinks he's 4.
well, they still see him as a threat because a few times they mention how Maddie is. He's a bit dangerous because he likes to strategize, but he's not that dangerous, is he?
No,
So-
but no. Well, he's got flawed information, which makes it very hard to play the game properly. And then after Jenna Louise had said her piece, well, Sue chimed in and she decided she'd say hers and uttered, I think, probably my favourite quote of the
Yeah, what's
series
that
so
one?
far.
Yeah.
I'm not naive, sweetheart. That was fantastic. That was in response to something Flick had said.
Oh, she's great. She's just got such a dry wit, doesn't she?
Oh, that was just great. I'm
Fantastic.
not naive, sweetheart. I was going, that's just brilliant. Jenna Louise then finished it off. Take the opportunity to get in front. You've got time to do it now. Don't wait till it's staring you in the face. Do it now while you've still got time. As they counted the votes out, I thought, that strategy that Sue came up with to vote Christie might just work.
It came right down to the wire,
It
didn't
came
it?
right down to the wire, but in the end, Sue got, out of the 9 votes, Sue got 5. And they were Flick, Elle, Matt, Christy, and Brooke.
Yep.
And Christy got the remaining 4, which was Jenna Louise, Sam, Lee, and Sue. So, Sue, it's time to go.
Yes, it is. It's time to go. If Kate was the moral compass, then Sue, you're surely the voice of reason. We're sorry to see you go. The tribe has spoken.
Yeah, poor Sue. I think she played a great game. I mean, it's
She did.
quite
she
impressive
did.
what she did. She lasted, 41, 42 days. Oldest
That's
person
right.
out there.
Yep.
Played hard. Did great. A really worthy survivor, in my opinion.
She was great. That's right.
And she can't wait to see it all implode. I bet she can't.
Any best moments besides what you've already mentioned?
I'm
or
not
it's-
naive, sweetheart. That
Yeah,
was
that's
just
right.
that was just fantastic. Before we move on, I just want to actually have a quick chat about how I think some things that are going on with the jury are very clearly illustrate what's going on here. So we've now got 3 members of the jury: Nick, Kylie, and Sue. So there are now that tribal council that we've just been talking about is the first tribal council since the merge, and there's been 5 of them now where Matt actually voted for the person going home.
Right.
So that to me says he's really not. That should be a little bit of a clue, I think, that perhaps he's not in with the alliance as much as he thinks he is. If he's never voting, other than tonight, if he's not actually voting for the person going home, four times out of the last 5, he's voted for someone else.
That wasn't because they were splitting votes or something, and he was just.
It is.
Was that kind of a thing?
It
or-
is, but everyone else has been voting reasonably regularly for the person going home. And,
Right.
Four in a row.
Okay.
4 in a row, he did not vote for the person going home. There's now 4 people, and they are Brooke, Elle, Flick, and Christy, who have voted for all 3 of the jury members. And that's interesting. I think the other thing is that also means that those 4 are always voting for the person going home. So I think what's happening is Brooke or Flick, whoever's in charge, is saying, right, the person going home is this person. We will vote for them. You other guys, we're going to split the vote. So Sam, Lee, those other people, you vote for someone else. But this could really blow up in their face because
Because they're the ones always sending
they're
someone
the
home.
ones always sending someone home, whereas other people are getting involved in the split votes, and they can honestly say, "Well, I didn't vote for you."
Exactly.
But I think it also says how dominant they are because I think what they're thinking is, right, we're deciding who's going home, so we're going to vote for them. And the other part of the strategy is my allies, and to assist with that strategy, they'll do something else. So it very clearly says to me that those three particularly think they are absolutely in charge, and Christie is always voting with them. And I think that some sort of goes to the point I think I was making in the last podcast, that Christie seems to be doing everything in her power to align herself with those three, and that includes voting with them every time at Tribal Council. So just a few little patterns starting to emerge, I think, just in the in the voting that's going on with the jury members. We'll continue to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's great, Craig. Any ideas where this season's going to head up? Because it looks like nothing can stop that final alliance of 5, is there? Really?
It would have to be hard now. Which leaves the next 3 to go. Assuming that plays out as it is, Jenna Louise, Christie, and Matt. And if that was to happen, what would be interesting if it got down to 6, and the person who was number 6 won on immunity, so that group of 5 would then have to turn on itself earlier than they think they will.
Yes, that's right.
And that really could throw everything up in the air, depending on who it is. Like if it was Jenna Louise, say, who was number 6 and got an immunity at 6, I think that would just cause absolute havoc.
That's right.
I hope it happens.
And the way things are going, that could well happen because she is a strong
2 in a row
competitor. So that could well happen.
Yeah, so it's getting very interesting. I love Sue's comment as she left here as well. Who said, they think this is happening next week. It's not going to happen next week. It's going to happen like in their terms, because they're having a tribal council every other night. It's going to happen this week. Within the next few days, they'll have to start turning on each other.
That's right.
And she can't wait to see it implode. And I can't wait to see it implode either. It's going to be great TV, I reckon.
I wonder what Sue's special dinner is going to be for the jury villa.
We'll have to watch.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that.
I don't know. Well, she's had a nice roast, so maybe she'll want something different.
That's right. I saw some tweets tonight, and actually there was just before we started recording this podcast, and there you go.
There he is.
There's and it's actually the tweet I'm talking about is a tweet by Matt, which I thought was quite interesting. He said, "Hey friends, logging out of this one for now. Enjoy what's to come and be nice to one another. It's an epic ride."
Oh.
XO chicken.
Oh, is this the chicken tweeting? Oh, this was Matt tweeting.
This is Matt tweeting. And he finished with 3 chicken emojis. But the fact that it's an epic ride, it just makes you think whether something's going to happen that we don't expect, and maybe it won't come down to the 3 girls making it all the way to the end. Something is going to happen, which I sincerely hope is going to be the case.
Well, we sort of need it to make it a bit less predictable, because at the moment it seems to be heading for an Elle Brooke Flick final 3. I know we've got a final 2. We've already been told that, but that's where it will come from. The way it looks, that's where it will come from. If everything goes the way they plan it to.
Unless JL can do something like who was the girl in the very first Survivor season in the US who won 6 in a row or something like that, because she was the one.
Kelly Wigglesworth.
Kelly, yeah, of course, Kelly. That's right. And she was a bit like the JL in that she was always on the outer for the whole time in that last part of the.
She made it all the way to the final 2.
That's right, by winning every single challenge.
Correct.
And so far, JL's on that path, so she might get there just through winning challenges. Maybe that's the epic ride.
Maybe it'll make it interesting if it does. But it's getting to the fun bit now.
It sure is. Well, I was just looking at the dates, and I think this will be wrapped up within 2 weeks, is what my feeling is. Just sort of judging on.
Well, 3 episodes next week. We're at 8 people now. That gets us down to 5 by the end of next week.
And the final one is probably normally be a bigger episode. They might have 2 people go or something like that. So I think
it could be done. Yeah,
Sunday and Monday of not next week but the week after. I think that could be the finale.
Hasn't that happened fast?
It always happens that way in Survivor. I find it always seems to finish really quickly.
And of course, it helps when we have 3 episodes a week, as we had on this series.
That's right.
Well, that's something to look forward to.
Exactly.
Great.
Well, thanks so much for that, Craig. It was great talking about the episode with you.
Good to be here.
So, Sunday night, we have to wait to see who goes home on Sunday.
We'll do that. It's going to be an epic ride, apparently.
That's right. Okay, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
See ya. Have a good week.
Bye.